Y'all, it's my goal to get through this recipe without crying today. Because what I'm sharing with y'all is Uncle Bubba's crab stew. And it was absolutely the best I've ever put in my mouth. And people still talk about it to this day. So I'm going to start with 1 stick of melted butter. Well, not melted, but it's soft. You know, I can't believe my brother will have been dead 5 years in August. I can't believe it's been 5 years since I last saw him. We had some great times there at Uncle Bubba's. All right. Now, to me, the important thing when you're making crab stew, you know, you can try to find she crab, and it's the female crabs that's got the eggs in it, and that's what makes them she crab. I'm just using plain lump crab today. So to me, the important thing about making crab stew is that your vegetables be like almost minced, because you want the crab to be the center of attention, not chunks of onion or celery. That's my thinking. But after sharing that with you, y'all do it the way you want to. All right, so I'm going to start adding these to the pot. I love my little miniature mincer thing. So that is the leeks. And you can see I got it real fine. Really, really fine. Okay. And the next thing we're going to go in is with our onions. And I'm going to do them the same way, y'all. Now, there's something that's not here in this recipe that kind of puzzles me, because I know I would have included that in Bubba's recipe, and that's garlic. I would have always put garlic in it. So you can garlic or not garlic. I'm going to garlic. So I'm going to put about a half of a, well, maybe a little bit more than a half of almost a teaspoon of the garlic. And the last thing that we have to chop now is our celery. Okay, so I'm going to turn up the heat now and let that cook. Come on, everything, get out of there. We paid for every bit of that celery, didn't we? So we're going to get it all. I'm telling y'all what, groceries have gotten so daggum expensive. I worry about poor old elderly people on fixed incomes. I just worry about them. Okie doke. I'm going to sit this out of the way. And so we're going to go ahead and turn this heat up and saute those, you know, maybe for about 5 minutes. Timer's going off for something. Okay, so can you see in that pot, Eddie, how nice and fine that is? Because like I said, I want the crab to be the star. Okay, you can look over here and see these are getting nice and soft. And I'm going to add my flour. And that's 3/4 a cup of flour. But this is going to make a big, big pot of crab stew. So we want to just cook that for a while. We don't want the floury taste to stay in there. And I think I could stand a little bit more liquid. So I'll add a little bit more butter so that will have something to melt, to cook into. Now I'm going to start. It calls for 2 quarts of heavy cream. I think it calls for 1 quart or 1 pint. That'd be 2 cups of
half and half.
Yes. Okay, I'm adding our heavy cream. And I want to do it kind of slow. I don't want to just dump it all in there at one time. I want to give that a chance to slowly get incorporated. So this is going to make our crab stew nice and thick. You want your crab stew to be eaten with a spoon, not a fork. It's like our grits. Some people like spoon grits. Some people like fork grits. A fork grit just means you like them real thick. Okay, so 1 down. And now I'm going to start with a heavy cream. Now I'm going to add milk. So I may not add that extra quart of whipping cream. Okay, I don't want this to stick, so I'll spend a good bit of time stirring. All right. Now, to me, this is a secret ingredient to crab stew. And I don't know why this company, Better Than Bouillon, they have got so many different flavors now in the grocery store, but they don't have a lobster or crab base. We had to order this off the web. And this is going to bring that crab stew flavor home. So I highly, highly, highly recommend y'all going to Amazon and ordering this wet base if you're going to be making crab stew. And I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons. That looks like 1. But now in the restaurant at Uncle Bubba's, we used crab base because we could get the crab base from our restaurant supply house. But that's not available either. And I think Teresa ordered this. And didn't you say the crab base was a lot more expensive?
Yes. And it comes in such a large amount.
Uh-huh. Well, that's the size that we ordered at the restaurant. Was it like in a sour cream size? Yeah. It's not cheap because you think how many crabs had to say goodbye for a container that size. Now, we're not going to add our crab until the last second. All right, the last quart of heavy cream is going in. And should this not be thick enough to suit you, all you have to do is put a little cornstarch in a bowl like that, maybe 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and a little cold water, and you'll have a nice slurry that you can get the thickness just the way you want it. And I may wind up doing that to this, but I want to give it a chance to thicken up on its own. This looks so beautiful, y'all. So very beautiful. So now it's time for us to start tasting and get our seasonings right. It's very good. Very, very good. Now I'm going to add some pepper. A lot of people, especially your restaurants, because this is a clear, creamy color, they'll add white pepper. But I love seeing the black peppercorns in it. So that's what I'm going to add. And I'm going to add very, very little salt. Because remember, those bases, they contain a whole bunch of salt. So I mean just one little like that. And then everybody can salt it at the table. But look at that thickness. And I did make a little slurry of like 3 tablespoons of cornstarch with a tablespoon or so of cold water. You know, you just want to mix it up good because it was just not quite as thick as I wanted it. So you can decide to do that when you're making this or not. Now, you want to add your crab last, and you don't want to break it up. You don't want to mince it up, but you might want to check it for shells. Some people are offended if they get a piece of shell. I am not one of those people. I get a real piece of shell in my mouth, I know that's because we're using real crab, and that's part of it. So I'm just going to turn this down and let it just simmer. I really don't want, I don't want it to boil. I just don't like boiling, you know, the cream in this. So it could, for a little bit, it could boil. So I'm gonna put it on simmer. Oh, see, it's hard to get on simmer because it will go out on you. But I think that's about as good a simmer as we can get, Eddie. That's beautiful. Do y'all see that thickness of that? It's perfect. I'm going to very gently add my crab. A quick way to check your crab for shells is to spread your crab out on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven just for a couple of minutes. And if there's any shell in there, it'll turn pink. So you can just go in and pick them right out. Okay. We have those crabs back swimming again. Please don't let anybody come in your kitchen and roughly stir this. You want a slow, gentle hand. All right. Now the recipe calls for sherry. And I don't like to assume that everybody is going to want sherry in this, especially if you're feeding young children. So what I like to do is I like to give everybody a little splash by their plate and let them choose to sherry or not to sherry. Y'all, that's one pretty pot of crab stew, and I think my brother Bubba would be awfully proud. I'm going to show y'all how I like to serve it. Look, you can see how thick this is. And if you don't like it that thick, you can certainly thin it down. Where did my little chicken go? Or my cow? It's my cow, isn't it? There, you stay there. All right, so I like to serve it with a little chive or parsley, just, you know, something to give it that earthy look. And some people love to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on it. That's good too. A lot of people like that dollop of sherry, but I like to leave that to everybody's own device. And I'm going to cover that so it'll stay hot. And I always like to serve it with some type of bread. These are wonderful little cheese and pecan muffins. Just the bread of your choice. French bread's awfully good with it. All right. I hate to eat in front of y'all kids. Mm. It is so good. So crabby, so buttery. Mm. You got a grain of pepper in my throat. You can really make this very, very quickly. You can see I made the full recipe, which is a big pot. But if you make about half that much, you can make this in no time at all. And just remember at the end to taste it before you put your crab in it. Taste it. Make sure your seasonings are where you want to be. And I always serve along with the sherry and the cheese, which I forgot to put out. But Michael will put our hot sauce on it. Who else puts hot sauce on theirs? Do you, Teresa?
I do not.
Do you, Eddie? Mm. Like I said, just a little bite of bread. And people will think you the best, honey, which we know you are. So love and best dishes. I'm going to go because I know Teresa and Eddie are hungry. And thank you, Bubba. Mm. Hey, y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.